let's see what's the news item that came in the paper. That Assam's two-child policy will stall development. That was the concern expressed by the NGO organizations and civil groups in Assam. So the Assam Chief Minister, Mr. Hemanta Biswa Sharma, announced the amendment bill wherein the people should follow two-child norm. This was the news. So look at what is the Assam's two-child policy. So a coalition society group engaged in reproductive health, that is the people who are dealing with in the NGOs and social activists in the reproductive health care system. Now they express the concern that Assam's move to adopt this two-child policy now for availing benefits, okay, under the government scheme will hurt the poorest, besides the hindering the development goals of the state. So they said poorest will be affected if this policy of two-child norm is followed, right? Poorest will be affected, and also it will hinder the development. This is the concern they raised. Let's see what is it and whether their concerns are correct. Why have they felt such negative opinion about this? Why have they felt a certain negative impact of this two-child norm? What is wrong if two-child norm policy is being implemented? Should we have it or not? And what are the positive effects and what are the negative effects? So Assam Chief Minister Hemanta Biswa Sharma on June 19 said that barring the tree plant, look at this statement, tree plantation workers, scheduled caste and scheduled tribes. So barring the scheduled caste, tree plantation worker and scheduled tribes, general population will be subjected to two-child norm, and those who are having more than two-child norm will not have the eligibility to avail the benefits of the public schemes, government schemes in the state. This is the statement and the statement of the bill and also the introduction of the bill. So they cannot avail benefits under specific thing funded by the state, except the SC, ST and tea plantation worker. It will not apply to them. But for the remaining population, poorest of the poor of the general population, OBCs, OCs, other groups, all and general population, even the poorest, it will apply to them. And those who are having more than two children, even if they are very poor, other than this category, they will not be able to draw any benefits from the schemes funded by the government in Assam. So this is the reason why the social activists, reproductive health specialists, and the civil groups raise the concern that it is affecting the poorest of the poor, and also it may impede the growth and development of the state. So let's look at other aspects. This actually already there is an act, Panchayat Raj Amendment Act, 73rd Panchayat Raj Amendment Act, in which in 1994, which requires two-child norm. Supposing a politician, an individual wants to contest as a politician, as a sarpanch or for a political post, he should give a declaration that his family is having only two-child, has followed the adhered to only two-child norm, and he is not having more than two children. He or she has to give a declaration. Otherwise, they will be eligible. Some of them have given wrongly, later given complaints, and such people have been disqualified also. So already there is a rule about the two-child norm. Those who are keen to contest in public elections, in general election, assembly elections, parliament elections, sarpanch elections, the municipal body, local bodies, they should give a declaration that he or she must give a declaration that they have only two children in their family. And if they are not having if they are having more than two children, they will be disqualified to apply for this or file a nomination for this. This is the scenario already existed. Now Assam, Honorable Chief Minister of Assam has brought in this thing that already two-child norm about to contest for the election, eligibility to contest. Beyond the two children, no disqualification to contest. Already this scheme is there since 1994. Now, this new scheme, new bill is sought. It is only a bill. Remember, it's not an act. It's only a bill sought to introduce incentives and disincentives. Incentives to those who follow two-child norm and disincentives to those who do not follow two-child norm. And barring SC, ST and tea plantation worker, all population in Assam will be subjected to this two-child norm, strict eligibility, and only such people who are having two-child are eligible to draw benefits, utilize the scheme, avail the benefits of the scheme. This is the background in which we are discussing. Now, what are the current status? Let's look at overall India. This is a very progressive step, and ensuring small size family norm, meaning 2 children. Okay, so postpone the first and delay the first, postpone the second, and have the second child. Only 2 children can have, and not more than 2 children. This is the family planning slogan everywhere. So 2 children norm, small family size. This is the norm that to be followed. So there are 7 states like Haryana, Rajasthan, Madhya Pradesh, Andhra Pradesh, Telangana, Himachal Pradesh have already made 2-child norm for all panchayat members. So not only Assam, but all the states have already made these provisions, and I've been following it. So in Andhra Pradesh and Telangana also, this rule, compulsory rule is there. They should declare. I as collector, as commissioner, as an election observer, till recently I was in service, till March 20, I retired. So I went as an election observer in our own states and other states also. There have been many complaints received that during contest, during election time, they come and file a complaint saying that my rival opponent has given a false declaration, but actually their family size is more than 2. So we received several petitions like that. So after the post-election also, if we come to know, we can disqualify such people who have given a wrong declaration of 2, that they have a 2-child, but they are having more than 2 child. That is a false declaration they give. So in 2018, 412 panchayat members in Rajasthan alone had been removed from their post because they failed to comply with it. So you see, they gave a false declaration in order to make themselves eligible to contest for the Sarpanch election. But later, filing complaint by the rivals or by the public, 480 people have been stripped of their Sarpanch post because of their false declaration they made during the election, filing the nominations. So this is the seriousness with which this rule is implemented. Compulsory 2-child norm. Supreme Court also upheld these provisions in several states that debars members with more than 2 children from contesting in the election. Supreme Court, several times it has been challenged. Why should you restrict only for 2 children? Why should the others be disqualified? But whenever it was challenged, Supreme Court always upheld that, yes, there must be only 2-child norm in order to be eligible to contest for elections, and that more than 2 children is nothing but they should be debarred from contesting or disqualified. More than having 2 children, a family, that person, the man or woman, are not eligible to contest, and they are debarred from contesting in election and disqualified. That is the effect given by the time to time judgments of the Supreme Court. Now, private member bill on 2-child policy. What is the private member bill? Other than when the Honorable Minister concerned Honorable Minister introduces the bill, it is called private member bill. So a private member bill introduced, Constitution Amendment Bill has been introduced in the Rajya Sabha, proposing incentives in taxation, education, employment for people who limit their family size to 2 children. So you see, incentives. Okay. And so which means opposite of this is versus disincentive, right? Now, I want to tell you here something. Our family planning policy says that it's called now family welfare policy, and it says that the option to have children or undergo sterilization methods or limit the size of family is voluntary in nature. Voluntary in nature. It does not say it is compulsory. China has done that. China, since 1980 to 2016, up till 80, they did not have any restriction. But between 80 to 2016, they had only one child norm, compulsory. But ours is a democratic country. We cannot enforce, coerce population to undergo compulsory sterilization or limit the size of the family to 2 children. So the spirit of the constitution, democracy spirit is voluntary in nature. And the incentives and disincentives are actually a criticism. You are inducing a person to adopt to the family small size family norm, or you are discouraging a person to, or withholding the incentives and discouraging a person or punishing a person for not following a size family norm. So this cannot be called voluntary, right? It is against the spirit of the voluntary nature of adoption of small size family norm as enshrined in the National Family Welfare Policy. So which one is correct now? Let's have this clarity now. So this amendment bill says that let us have incentives to those who follow 2-child family norm. Is this correct? How far it is correct, and should we do it or not do it? Okay. Now, the bill proposes that the incorporation of Article 47A. What is Article 47A? Actually, A is this, what is the inserting? The word insertion, incorporation is this A. Actually, 47 directive, it is an Article 47 is nothing but directive principles, right? So what is the DP? It says maintaining standards of living, maintaining health, maintaining supplementary nutrition. So all these are under the Article 47. So it thinks it is in the article of the, in the spirit of this directive principle of Article 47, that we can insert A in this and make already existing 47 another 47A, so that it says that a new provision in which we can say duty of the state to promote the small family in Part 4 of the Constitution. Part 4 of the Indian Constitution deals with the DPs, as you know, meaning directive principles of the state. So 47 is already existing. It says maintaining adequate nutrition standards, standard of living, promoting public health and all. Now, by way of this amendment of the bill, introducing this bill, it is asking for, it is seeking for insertion of A into the 47 and add a new one, 47A, or with to the already 47 and after 47, 47A. Add the 47A and make that state's obligation to maintain small size family norm. This is the proposed content of the bill, amendment proposed in the bill. So promote small size family norm. That is, state, it will be the duty of the state to ensure that the population of its state follow the small size family norm. So to what extent should we, if the state feels its duty, it should do it in several other ways, but it should not do the incentive and disincentives, right? That is the one important thing, because our family planning norms is about voluntary in nature, not inducement, not threat, not compulsion, not coercion, nor disincentives. Now, the proposed insertion intends to withdraw all concession from people who fail to adhere to small size family. So you see, like I said, incentives. Okay. Here is disincentive. Withdraw the concessions. Withdraw the concessions. What are the withdrawing concessions? Withholding concession. That means the family will not be entitled to get. If the family has more than 2 children, that couple, young couple, may not be eligible for any reservation in employment in that state government jobs, or their children born to such families, more than two children. So the third child onwards, they will not be getting any benefits of the school concession fees or scholarships and so on. Employment reservation will not be there. School concessions will not be there. Housing will not be there. Educational and also the other socioeconomic benefits will not be given to them. All will be withdrawn. All will be withdrawn. Instead of pink card, you will become white card, or you will not be eligible for benefit of the which you are entitled to if the couple is not following that two-child norm. This is the proper. So this article says disincentives. So they say this amendment intends to incentivize, encourage, give reward to those who follow two-child norm and punish those who do not follow the two-child family norm. So punish in the sense, withdraw the concession. It is nothing like a penalizing. What are all the benefits are there? You are withdrawing that concessions. Already a poor person, having more than two children, it's a large size family. You are withdrawing. So the population, that poor will be further suffering. So that is the problem. That is the criticism that is found out. So is it right to incentivize, or is it right not to incentivize or disincentivize? So this is disincentive or withdraw all provisions. So negative approach. Incentive is encourage, positive, encouraging. Okay. This is discouraging. So should we discourage people from having more than two children? Should we encourage having children less than two children? So should we discourage more than two? Should we encourage two children? So this is the debate, and this proposed amendment bill proposes to introduce that incentives for those who practice two-child norm, disincentive or discouragement to those who do not practice. So similarly, bill also intends to offer incentives, reward, encouragement in terms of taxes, employment, education, taxes. So your house tax, your daily taxes that you pay, there will be concession for them who are following two children norm. So employment, reservations in employment, jobs for those couple who are following two-child norm, and education. The children born in such family to the parents who are only two, they will be getting the school concession, school scholarship, and all the other things. And priority social benefit schemes like pension schemes, like other social benefits like housing schemes, all the other encouragement. For example, the health schemes that are given to the poor population by the government, state government, funded by the state government, they all will be given to people who follow positive. So this is positive and to encourage two-child norm. So this is the proposed bill. Remember, it is a proposed bill, amendment. Now look at the need for two-child policy norm. Let's see what has been the Chinese experience. If you look at the Chinese experience, Chinese have followed up to 80, no restriction, but realizing that the huge, it was one, as you know, it is the world's largest populous country in the world. And therefore, it has the largest population in the world. And therefore, they decided to control it. And in order to match with the resources, so they wanted to slow down. Therefore, they introduced from 1980 onwards, one-child norm. Only one child, and that too compulsory, because it's a communist regime. They can be very strict. They can make it compulsory. But in India, it is a democracy. It is voluntary. Educate the people, appeal to their rationality, make it a spirit of voluntariness. That should come from the person, not enforced by outsider external agency, by way of inducement or bribe or wooing, or it is not. You cannot use carrot and stick policy. Carrot for those who follow two-child norm, and stick for those who do not follow the two-child norm. Is it justified? Because it's a democratic country. And our welfare system, government says that it should be voluntary. So look at the China. China said that 1980 to 2016, it was a one-child norm. Then they realized that they were not strictly following one child couple. Well, the government thought only one child means only one pregnancy for the couple, right? So, but they were cleverly, the citizens have come out with another innovation. While they said one child, the government soon realized they were producing more twins. How come? That is because it's one pregnancy, so they were going to the test tube, in vitro fertilization, and trying to have, through one pregnancy, 2 children. And they used to say, okay, we tried, but we only wanted one child, but it happened 2 children. We happened to have 2 children. That is, we wanted for a single child, but we were blessed with twins. So this was the excuse that has come out. So there was they found that many children beyond one child norm, compulsory policy was followed between 1980 to 2016 in China. They found more number of twins that were born. But however, government said that you will not be eligible, more than one child will not be eligible. So that kind of children who are other than one permitted were called undocumented children or missing children, because they could not bring it to the legal counting and in the census counting, and also getting all the benefits that the communist government was giving. Sometimes they were not brought to the book or to the account, the children that were born in that manner. So only one child was allowed. Then looking at 2016, looking at all this and also decided that after 2016 they relaxed. Then they said 2 child now. From 2016 to 2020, they did 2 child now. Then they realized that aging population is on the increase, young population on the decrease. Then third thought, enough is enough. In 2021, June, that is this month, by 2nd and 3rd of June this year, they decided to have 3 child norm. So you see, the most populous country in the world, China, is adopting 3 child norm because its aging population, old age population is on the increase. Reproductive age group population, younger population is on the decrease. It is not getting a effective labor force, and the youth of the country is declining, and so labor force is declining. Productive age group to contribute to the nation economy is decreasing. So they have taken this radical step. So no compulsion, no restriction up to 80 to 2016, 1 child norm, 2016 to 20, 2 child norm, and now 21, 3 child norm. But we are saying that we are asking for 2 child norm. So this is the scenario. The experience of China has been that the old age population is on the increase. Young population is on decrease by following this restricted children policy, 2 child policy. So even 2 child policy, they relaxed. Now they are saying have 3 children, so that in the future, in the at least in a decade and more, the younger reproductive age group population will come, and they will be contribute to labor force and economy and productivity of the country. So that is their observation. That is that policy. And India, we are following 2 child norm. And of course, it is voluntary in most of the states, and only they are making compulsory in these 7 states for contesting for elections. And the other important thing is about the Sarpanch election. And the other thing now, as you can see, Assam government, by way of amendment of bill, is introducing to incentivize, encourage those who follow now 2 child norm, and discourage by withdrawing all the benefits that are good, and disqualify them from availing any benefits if they have more than 2 children. This is the background. So India's population has already crossed 130 crores. And according to UN report, India will cross China as the most population by 2027. So beware, we are going to be the most populous country in the world after 2027. And That is, we will be number one and China will become number two. So this is the projection made by the UN report. And then in 2019, India had an estimated population of 1.37 billion and China has 1.43 billion according to the UN figures. So you can see 137 billion and 1.43 billion. So we are very close, as you can see, right? And so this is 1.43 minus 1.37, right? So 10 point, okay. So this is the about 10 billion, not exactly 10 billion, 1.43, sorry. So it will be 7, so it will be 6 only. So 6 point decimal will be the difference in the China and India. And as you can see, we can catch up perhaps and overtake the China by 2027. So this is the scenario. And look at China. China has come out with, now this year, this month, they have come out with a 3-child norm. And we don't know if 3-child norm, if it is caught up very easily in by whether we will be able to overtake China now with this present policy of 3-child policy introduced by China. Will we become most populous by 2027, or it may further delay by some more years perhaps. So this is one observation to be noted. Despite having the national population control 2000, India is the second most populous country in the world. Now, what is this population theory called Malthus theory of population? What is Malthus theory of population? That says population increases in arithmetic progression, meaning 2, 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, like that. Okay. And while population increases in arithmetic progression, the population increases. 1 minute. Okay. While population increases, the food production increases in arithmetic progression. Okay. The population increases in geometric progression. Okay. So what is the meaning of that? Supposing food production, okay, food production is 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, and so on. But the food production is arithmetic and population is in geometric. So population will go 2, okay, 4, 8, 16, 32, 64, okay, like this. Come on. So is it catching? From here onwards, not able to catch. So it is going like this, 128. So this is geometric. This is population will increase geometrically and food production will increase arithmetically. When food production increases arithmetically, population increases geometrically, and so the food production cannot cater to the needs of the population. Therefore, population and natural resources will be overburdened and overexploited. It is like Malthus said, Malthus theory of population, when he mentioned, he gave an example of the horse. The hind legs of the horse are the food production, and the front legs of the horse are population production. And both are galloping. As you can see, both are galloping. This will not catch with this, right? Hind legs will not. The food production cannot catch up with the population increase. So there is always this perennial gap, huge food gap. So there was burden on the resources and also overexploited. That is the observation, a point to be noted. So maybe we need to also control the population in that sense, but we can only do by voluntary methods and educating the population. International population conference at Cairo and at Bucharest in Romania, they said that Socioeconomic development is the best contraceptive. Meaning, when you educate the people, develop the people, they themselves will realize it is better not to have more than 2 children, because more larger the family size, larger the liabilities, larger the resources required, larger the difficulties. So 2 child are the happy child norm, happy family, 2 child family, happy family. That's how they will realize. The realization should come from the couples, the married couples, the parents, the citizens, and it should not be forced. That's what the International Population Conference said, that you develop the people, you educate the people, they themselves will grow, they themselves will adopt small size family without having to coerce them or threaten them or use carrot or stick policy. So that is the background. But here is a case where Assam is proposing an amendment bill where incentivize, encourage those who have 2 child norm to have 2 child norm, and discourage, at least now in future, not to have 2 children. So the new couples married couples will say, oh, we should not have more than 2 children. Otherwise, we will not be eligible for the benefits given by the state government. So even the poorest of the poor will be harder hit. Poor of the poor are illiterates, ignorant, and they think large size family means more security. More family size means maybe they have a wrong notion, and they are not educated, and they are not literate, and therefore they are ignorant. So such people, they are already poor, and if they have more than 2 children, you are also disqualifying them even to get ration or economic benefits, or also employment benefit, or school benefit, educational benefit to the children. It will be like adding insult to the injury. Like they already are having, they are poor, they are having more children, and the government is not coming to the rescue from any scheme. Is this a scenario justified? Should we have this kind of scenario? Now, this is the criticism made by the Assam reproductive health core group, family welfare, NGOs who are dedicated to this reproductive health care, also the NGOs and civil liberties, civil groups that are advocating, and also those activists are also raising the concern that poorest of the poorest will be the hardest hit. And also the government is coming out with so many schemes. But if you give this kind of second layer of filter, isn't it? First layer is you are saying tea plantation workers, SC, ST will be eligible. Second, you are saying whoever are having more than 2 children will not be eligible for all these schemes. So you are filtering all the people. Even the poorest will be hard hit. And in the long run, let's say 5 to 10 years from now, where is the development? Growth and development may not take place. Welfare may also go slumped. Welfare may also be impeded. So immediate relief to the family will not be available. So all welfare schemes, development schemes will not be made available to the poorest of the poor, who perhaps because of ignorance and illiteracy and not a lack of awareness may tend to have more than 2 children. So they will be the hardest hit. This is the criticism. So criticism is restricted child policy will create a shortage of educated people needed to carry on in their segment. Now we are talking about India as a whole, not Assam only. What is wrong with compulsory following 2 child norm? China has, I gave you China's experience. So no restriction from 80 to up to 80, no restriction. 80 to 2016, 1 child norm. 2016 to 2080 to 2016, 1 child norm. Right? 2016 to 2019, 2 child norm. Now it is saying from June 2000, okay, 2021, 3 child norm. So why is it doing it? Because it means that younger population, our pyramid is showing increased number of old age people because of standards of living gone high, good health care. But a younger generation, our birth rates have come down. So as a result, younger population is declining, old age population is increasing. And that is the same problem with the China, and they said, let's have 3 children. So by following compulsory 2 child, China is already gone through this stage, and now they are saying, let's have 3 child norm. So we are saying 2 child norm. So will we also go the China way, losing that old age people will be increasing, young will be decreasing. And so educated young people needed to carry on India's technological revolution may not be available. If you follow this compulsorily or follow this kind of incentivizing, disincentivizing mechanism, indirectly some kind of coercion methods, carrot and stick policy kind of thing, then there is the restricted child policy, two-child policy may reduce the decline further the birth rates, and the population will come down, and particularly young population will come down, and they will not be available for technological revolution. We want to make India a superpower. We want to also make India largest democracy. We are India's one of the largest democracies in the world, and we also want to empower it technologically. So where is the youth? That is the question. Should we have it? Then the problem is gender imbalance. Now, while they are having children, again, only one child norm is given. Let us say in China, they were only opting for boy. Then where are the girls? If every family is opting for boy, when they grow up, they are asking, mom and dad, where are the girls? Where do I marry? Whom do I marry? Right? So this is the serious problem that we have come across. It has been observed in case of China and other such countries. So because of gender balance, so that they were only preferring the male child, but not the female child. Unfortunately, in India, as you know, even the pregnancies are taking place, birth rates are, girl children are falling because the sex ratio is adversely falling because they are only preferably, they are only encouraging to have male child, but not female child. As a result, there is adverse sex ratio, imbalanced sex ratio, less female, that is number of females are less per 1,000. And these are as less as 700 to 800 in Punjab, Haryana, and Rajasthan, and like that. And rightly, slightly now it is improving. And two, so much. So that clearly shows we should have per 1,000 males, we should have at least 950, 980, like that, or 930. But it cannot be 800 and 750 or 830, 840, like that. Why should there be 200 less per 1,000 population? Definitely, it shows the unfortunate infanticide practice, gender-based options, and gender discrimination. So already we are having this problem again. Then, so the problems of gender imbalance faced by China also, for one child, if they say one child, they were only preferring male. So no female. So gender discrimination it amounted to in China also. And undocumented children. What do you mean undocumented? They said one child. So they have 2 children per pregnancy, meaning they were given one option to have one child, but they went for in vitro fertilization, tested baby, having 2 children. Then the second child was not accounted for. So that is called undocumented children, other than one child, in that one child norm conditions. In the 2 child also, if they had 3 child, third child was not accounted for. They were hiding it. Otherwise, same thing. In China, it's a communist country. They were incentivizing those who are having only following the state country's family norm, and those who are not following the country's family norm laid down, like one child or 2 child, as per the time, as per the duration, they were not available for public schemes, benefiting from the public schemes. So communist country can do that. It has done that also. And so this number of children were not accounted for, other than that in the 80s, only one child was accounted for, and the second child was not accounted for. In the year, 2 children only accounted, third child in the family was not accounted. So missing children are undocumented children, because they were afraid of the retaliation or action by the government. Then, as a result of the one-child policy, there may be so many decline in the birth rates and a decline in the younger population. So these are some of the issues that we need to understand. These are the serious problems that we have. So India's birth rate is slowing down to sustainable levels. So sustainable level means birth rate, death rate almost are balanced. So there is a earlier 3.2 children per woman, Okay, now it is 2.3 children per woman. So almost 2 children, 2 child now in India. So to this extent, it is okay. By 2030, the number has already fallen to 2. So there is a gradual decline in the birth rates. due to encouragement, education, and also many schemes, and particularly raising the awareness of the married couple, particularly health department, family welfare department approaching the newly married couples and asking them to follow the families, small size family norm. As a result, results are showing. And as you can see, without coercion, I'm talking about entire India, not just Assam and all the 7 countries. They are also the 7 states which we have mentioned, only for election, that's Sarpanch election they are following. For the remaining, there is no disincentive or incentive even in any part of India, except this proposed bill in the Assam. So you can see this kind of already results are showing. India also, democratically and voluntarily, without enforcing throughout the India. For example, in Kerala, almost the fertility rate is less than 2 per family. And so, and their IMRs also, MMRs also. Why the people were having large size families earlier? Because at some 50s, 60s, 70s, 80s, they were worried that if we have 4 children, at least 2 children will survive because of illnesses and epidemics and so on. So now healthcare is so good that we are guaranteeing every child that is born. IMR also has come down. Number of deaths per 1,000 live births. And mothers, maternal mortality also has come down. So the mothers and good healthcare is assured. Therefore, now couples are at peace and they are quite clear that the children that they have will be able to bring them up and without any health problems, and they will survive and they will also be grown up to be responsible citizens. This is the thing. So already India's birth rate is slowing down because of democratic norms, meaning following voluntary nature of adoption of small. We are giving approach. Newly married couple follow pills and contraceptives. Delay the first. Okay. Postpone the second for some time. And don't have the third at all. This is what we are saying. Okay. Do bache only. Iddaru. Okay. So that kind of norm has appealed to many people and they are doing it. Even a labor working as an agricultural laborer or working in a factory, they are fully aware that larger the family, more liabilities and more earnings are required, and that they cannot bring up their children as per the choice and to the best living condition assured to them. So they know, therefore the results are already yielding without any disincentivizing for the entire country. So that is the last word on this 2-child family norm. The Assam has adopted, proposed this amendment bill. So if you look at the experience of China, they are asking 3-child now, not just 2-child. And again, they went from 1 to 2, 2 to 3 now, because they want more labor force. We also need a more labor force. So supposing, so each state starts talking about, let us punish or withhold the benefits who have more than 2 children. Let's encourage those who are having only having 2 children. When this thing is going to happen, if the children are, the birth rates are further falling, is it advisable? Should it be act of coercion? Is it not against the policy? And also in the future, we need young youth population, young age population, because birth rates will be declining further. And in the years to come, old age population will increase. They will not be productive. They will all be burdens of pension and dependency on the government and also to the younger population. So young population will be very, very less. So looking at this, we should be encouraging only democratic voluntary size rather than that. And if the adoption of this bill or the proposal of this bill as followed by Assam may have its own side effects, like it will affect the poorest of the poor in the general category, OCs and the BCs and other categories other than SC, ST and tea plantation. And also over a period of time, the growth of the development of the state will be affected. Welfare of the state will also be affected, because more and more people will be kept away from the welfare schemes and eligibility of the development and all the schemes funded by the state government on the excuse that they are having more than 2 children. Disincentive. So that is the next.